The Pyramid Science Foundation would like to welcome Tomaz Mueller of tomazmueller.com for a 1-hour live stream today and energy session exploring shamanic journeying, Marma points, and pyramid energy. Tomaz is an Ayurvedic practitioner and an energy master, and it's a pleasure to welcome Tomaz to the live stream today. Welcome, Tomaz.
Yay, welcome, Tomaz.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Charlie, Lisa, Alison, for having me. I'm so excited. Before starting this session, I was just sort of tuning in, and I was just reminding myself of how important it is to really, whatever we do, stay centered in our being. And sometimes we can get so easily distracted and we can feel easily out of sync and out of balance. And again, as I said, Charlie and Lisa and Alison a couple of weeks ago when we had the first chat, for me, having the pyramid during 2020 with all my equipment and all my gemstones has been really, really a crucial factor of navigating myself through the ups and downs of 2020, especially because I have lived in central London, literally in the heart of central London. And the pyramid, my frequencies have just created an oasis in the middle of the city to help me. Whenever I step outside the door, I could feel anxiety and all the busyness and noise. And as soon as I closed the door, I was like back home and easily back into my inner center. And I can't thank you enough, Charlie, for bringing the pyramids back to life. And one of my dreams is still to go and visit Egypt. I know we are working with the Russian pyramid system, and it's really fascinating how the two in a way link and interlink together. But pyramids have always fascinated me for a very long time.
Sure.
I have been in the field in the healing field since 1989, so a very long time ago. I remember at the time I was initiated into meditation. I have been practicing transcendental meditation pretty much since. I've been living in an ashram for over 10 years. But at some stage, I realized that in order for me to just really step into my own, recognize my own strength, my own power, my own individual nature, I had to leave. I had to leave and figure out for myself what is right and what is wrong. And I truly believe that the time of the gurus is over. It's all about becoming sovereign beings and listening to our own inner teacher. And as a health professional for many, many years, as I said, for over 30 years, my journey has taken me from Ayurveda, from various aspects of Vedic science, to in a way pursuing also my passion of performing arts. I've got also a degree in acting and dance. So I've never been giving up my Ayurvedic teaching and my Ayurvedic practice, but for many, many years, I was also working in theater, did a few bits and pieces here and there. But each time when I thought it's time, I'm going to give up Ayurveda, we're talking about 30 years ago. We are talking at a time when I remember the first newspaper article that got published with my name. It was when the Berlin Wall fell, and it read something like witches, gurus, ghosts, teachers of yoga, Ayurveda, and meditation. And there was a big picture of me in the newspaper with a list of ailments that you can get when you practice meditation and yoga. There was internal bleedings, mental confusion, sexual disorientation, and the list went on. This is not a joke.
Oh my.
And thank goodness, a lot has changed since. So as I sort of paved my path through my own personal journey of growth, I had several moments when I thought, this is just too much. I'm going to give up Ayurveda, no more Ayurveda. I was working in a government position and I gave up my job. In Germany, we would call it Beamter. So I had a Beamter position, a government position. Basically, you are safe for the rest of your life. And from one day to the other, pretty much, I decided this is not me. I left my job, and as a consequence, my whole family didn't speak to me for an entire year, because at the time, Ayurveda yoga was still considered as being part of a sect and religious group. So what I was going to say is that as part of my journey, I tried several times to escape. And each time I wanted to escape from Ayurveda and meditation and that aspect, nature has pulled me back in. So I've traveled around quite a bit. I was in charge of opening Ayurvedic clinics worldwide. So I've been traveling quite a lot for over 10 years. Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Russia, Washington. I've been to help establishing Ayurvedic centers and also to help train Ayurvedic therapists. And then when I left the organization in 1999, in 2000, it was like, in a way, a big shock. It was a big awakening for me, because during my time in the ashram, everything was organized for me. I didn't need to worry about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I just needed to get up, follow my perfect routine, got into meditation in the morning, and then breakfast was prepared. I had to teach at 10 o'clock till 12. Lunch was prepared, brief break, and then the afternoon again. In the middle of all my travels, everything was organized. It was magical. But then when I left, it was like everything has just fallen apart. It was like my entire safety net that I sort of built my life upon over 10 years just crumbled. And it was like, what am I going to do now? Like pulling the bits and pieces together. And that's when I realized the true knowledge, the true way of understanding spirituality. The term spirituality is very tainted. I don't really like to use it, but I don't really have got another term to express it. I suppose personal growth and evolution. And I had to redefine myself. I have moved from practicing very strict Ayurveda to the extent that it was very much a black and white approach. Ayurveda, for those who don't know, the knowledge of life, which is the ancient Vedic wisdom tradition that originated thousands of years ago. The first references to Ayurvedic herbs goes even back to Rig Veda, which is more than 10,000 years old. So it's a very ancient, old wisdom tradition. And taking some aspects of that and then figuring out, where do I fit in that picture? Because Ayurveda, as we know, it's thousands of years old, but the way of how Ayurveda has been practiced thousands of years ago is no longer the same as Ayurveda is practiced today. And I realized very quickly, I was very fortunate enough to have had a few projects, even with Deepak Chopra at the time when I believe Deepak was in his true, authentic self. A lot has changed since Deepak has basically built his empire, to say the least. So I realized quite quickly that it is important, where is my voice in this whole scenario? And I came to understand that Ayurveda in itself has been packaged very commercially. For those of you who might be familiar with Ayurveda, it looks at body types, your constitutional type of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are made out of the 5 elements of space, air, fire, water, and earth. So, for example, earth and water forms the principle of kapha or kapha body type, and then fire and water is pitta, and then air and space is vata. How can that manifest? Let's just take the mind as an example. A vata mind is very flexible, extremely creative in their thinking because of the space and air element, very expansive. Whereas a pitta mind can be very sharp and focused. They are very good bookkeepers. They're very good with figures and numbers. And then a kapha mind is very grounded in a way, but kapha mind can be looking at things more from an emotional feeling perspective. In terms of the physical constitution of the three aspects, a vata body frame is more slender, more slim built, quite taller, quite tallish, bone frames. They may have tendencies towards dry skin, constipation, headaches, anxiety is more related to inflammatory. They can build muscles quite easily. Usually they are quite good with practicing sports. And then kapha is in general a little bit more solid built and a little bit more heavy built example. And as a pitta person has the tendency towards more inflammatory processes. Pitta has the tendency towards anger. They get frustrated very easily. In pitta, we look at the liver, we look at the skin, and then kapha very much because it's predominantly water and earth. You look at water retention as an example. Kapha people may have difficulties in losing weight, or they may gain weight easily, but then really have difficulties in losing weight. So this gives you a rough understanding of the Ayurvedic constitutional types. And because it is based on the 5 elements of space, air, fire, water, earth, we can translate that to anything and everything around us. We can analyze, for example, just look at the pyramid structure in itself. What is the element of that? The structure, the frame in itself, it's very kapha-like, but at the same time, it is movable. It's just sort of quite flexible at the same time, which is more a vata element. And then if you look at the gapping, if you don't have it filled with the quartz crystal, as we know, some of the pyramids, the base is filled with quartz crystal. There is a gap, there is a space, and that space again can be translated to the element of water. So what I'm saying here is that it is not just restricted to our constitution. We can look at it in the terms of the weather, the food we eat, the clothes we wear. And one of the passions that I have is to look at well-being from the outside in as well as from the inside out. And I'm also trained as a personal stylist, and people say, so what has styling to do with well-being? Well, over many, many years, I've been working a lot with people in the business, in high-profile positions with celebrities, actors, musicians. And if I would come and take my pure German hat and say, oh, from an Ayurvedic perspective, you should stop drinking alcohol, you should stop smoking, they probably would have run miles. But maybe I'll take an outside-in approach to well-being. I look at them and say, okay, how about you change the colors that you wear? Because the colors and the 5 elements, for example, are linked to the 5 bodies. So if you think about space, air, fire, water, and earth, the earth element is linked to the physical body. The water element is linked to your emotional body, the fire element to the energetic body, the air element to the mental, and the space or ether element is related to your consciousness or awareness body. And what I have found personally when I work with patients and placing them or asking them to sit under the pyramid, it totally aligns all of the 5 bodies. So that's where total integration actually happens. And this is where the body gets into a space where we allow the body's own innate healing mechanism to be activated. So it's not so much about, oh, me telling my patients, this is what you should do, even in consultations, in Zoom consultations or face-to-face consultations. I'm trying to understand that to address the emotional body, the energetic body, the physical body, for example, through detox, the mental body through emotion, through meditation, or maybe do we go straight into consciousness body, raising the vibration through pyramid energy and through the energy of frequency medicine. And I will talk about this shortly. So that leads us to the understanding of the Ayurvedic Marma points. So what are Marma points? I remember when I was studying, my teacher always used to say, Marma points are junction points between consciousness and physiology. It's like intersecting points where a physical structure such as muscles, ligaments, joints link in, and where you have direct access to consciousness or to the awareness body. And he always says that, or said, it's more dangerous to have an accident on a crossroad than having an accident on a straight, narrow, a straight path. So what is meant by that is work with Marma point when we treat those Marma points is so important. And here again, as a practitioner, important to raise our frequencies, to raise our vibrations before we actually start working with patients or working with people. And I have developed a course which is called the In Touch program. The Marma application is not just for practitioner. It's also for mothers who like to work with their children or husband and wife connection. It's a very simple way of aligning your energy bodies. They can be compared to the Chinese acupuncture points, but I don't like to use that term because it's like speaking 2 different languages. So I like us to stick to the Ayurvedic way of saying this is the Ayurvedic way. These are Marma points. There are 107 Marma points. And today, as part of our journey, I would like to introduce just 3 Marma points, which are part of the 2 of them are part of the so-called Maha Marmas, or the main Marma points, which will help raise our energy, help raise our frequency. So I guess what would be probably a good idea is, if you have a possibility to measure your energy, see this particular point on the Bovis life force scale before starting the session, and it was around 1 million on the Bovis scale. And that is because I was quite sort of a little bit wound up, a little bit stressed to set up technology, microphone. So if you have a chance, maybe just use your own way for a couple of seconds to measure where you are at this particular moment in time. And then I will explain how we use essential oils in treating those Marma points or applying those oils on the Marma points, and then we will take it from there. Does that make sense? Am I talking too much?
No, keep going.
No, you're good.
Okay, so for those who haven't, maybe just take a couple of seconds, see to find a way of measuring where you are at, because I know that Charlie also likes to create and generate some evidence of the work of the pyramids to form a baseline for people to understand the impact of it, which is truly amazing. And once after the session, I will do another heart rate variability with that. We see the changes now. The points that I would like to work today with is the heart. In Sanskrit, it's called Hridaya. Hridaya in Sanskrit means heart. Now, that's one Marma point. And Adipati, which is basically the region in between the eyebrows. And the third one is Stapani, which is basically the crown of the head. Now, I know that I might step on challenging territory here. I do not like to use the term chakras. I deliberately have moved away from using the term chakras because by identifying ourselves with the chakra system, we keep ourselves in the density of the physical body of the earth. And so that's why I like to prefer Hridaya. Then Adipati.
Tomaz, could you repeat that? You're skipping a little. Could you repeat that for us, please?
I was just saying that I would like to refrain from using the term chakras, because if we use the term chakras very much as a healer myself and being a yoga practitioner, it's always, oh, this chakra is blocked, that chakra is blocked, you need to activate your root chakra, or you are overly active, or your heart chakra is blocked and you have got some stuff sitting in your solar plexus. All of that, I believe, I feel as a practitioner, first of all, almost scares the person. Oh my God, I've got something wrong with me. I've got something, the heart chakra is not working. And that in itself keeps us into a lower density and a lower frequency. I am aware that there are so many different chakras, more than just the 7 different chakras. But like I said, personally, I would like to use, in general, energy centers. We're working with the center of the heart. We're working with the center in between the eyebrows, which is activating our pineal gland. And then also the center on the top of your head. Stapani in Sanskrit means to establish. This is where the prana, the life force, comes in at the time of conception, the very first moment in time. So that helps us connecting to our higher self. Does that answer the question, Lisa?
Yes, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. Yeah, it was just, the video was coming in and a little, so the voice was skipping a little, but thank you for clarifying that. That makes total sense.
Okay, thank you. So if you have your oil ready, I have got, basically I'm using some frankincense here, which I just put a few drops into this amethyst crystal bowl that was gifted to me. If you have your oil, you can use it neat, but some of you may have some sensitive skin. So I would say for now, just use maybe 1 drop, which is enough. So what you can do is you place 1 drop of the essential oil into your right hand. I will explain in a minute why. Into the center of your right hand. Why the palm and why the center? You have access to the energy of the heart through the actual heart region when you massage it or apply it on the chest, but also the palms of your hands are linked to the heart marma. This is also a marma point, which is Hridaya, and also at the same time the sole of your feet. So today, you're going to place a drop of the essential oil into the palm of the right hand. Then use your index finger, middle finger of your left hand, and do a few circular movements clockwise with your index or middle finger. And this is to activate the oil in the palm of your hand. Okay. And then if you are able, I would like you to close your eyes briefly. And if it is easy, to just apply the oil on your heart region, looking down on you in a clockwise direction. And here it is important that we use a light touch and very slow. So try to close your eyes and very slowly apply some circles around the heart region with the oil that you have. If you think you're going slow, you can even go slower. It's really about putting the attention onto it. Nice and slow. So why do we use the fingertips of actually applying the oil and not the flat fingers? There is a reason for that, because according to the yoga, in yoga tradition, we have got something called mudras. I think many of us are familiar with the mudras, which are particular finger positions. Means when we place the fingers in a particular way together, it creates a circuit of energy. I will talk about mudras maybe after we have gone through the Marma points. And this is why we use the fingertips, because it's the center, it's the most activated, energetic part of our hand, where we, if we would have Kirlian photography, we would see the light that actually emanates from the tip of our fingers. So if you can give me a brief nod, so I know that everybody roughly is on board with what I've said. Okay, so before we move on, I would really like us, because I know this is just sort of a crash course, but just close your eyes for a few seconds and just feel into the energy of your heart center after you have applied the oil. What might help is to do a few rounds again with your closed eyes and really pay attention on the movement and feel how it activates the core of your being, your heart center, how it activates your energetic body. With Marma points, with particular the Marma points that I've told you today, we definitely activate our energy body, which means we are able to instantly raise our frequencies. Then open your eyes again. How does that feel? Maybe we can invite 1 or 2 comments so I get a feel of where everybody is at this moment in time.
Feels calm and good.
Very good. Calm and good. Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, it almost feels like a blissful sensation. I don't know. It's really
amazing. That's
interesting.
exactly what we are after, to touch base with our energy body. So the second point that we're going to use is Adipati, which is the center in between our eyebrows. And here I will just add another layer. As we apply the oil in a very gentle way, imagine with each circle, you are going deeper and deeper and deeper, activating, clearing the energy of our pineal gland, and maybe helping to remove any calcification that may have accumulated around our pineal gland. The same process a couple of drops or one drop in the palm of your hand. Activate the oil first with your index finger. So there's a reason again, I'm just adding layer by layer. We place the oil in the right hand because the right hand is our masculine side, the masculine body. And use the feminine energy of our left hand to activate it. So we play with the masculine and the feminine. Once we have energized it, we then apply it as you would look at it in a clockwise direction onto the center in between the eyes. Very slow. And as you move and circle, imagine you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And then before you release, I would like you to just stop briefly in center and give a gentle tap about 3 times, just gently tapping 1, 2, 3, without big pressure, just tapping and then slowly release. Keep your eyes closed. And what you might experience is that the spinning, the circulating of the oil that we have done continues. It's like we have created a vortex in itself. And that vortex has started to take on a life in itself. Can I get a bit of a nod to just get a feel if everybody sort of gets a sense of what I'm trying to say? Or thumbs up is probably easier. Good point.
Yeah, when I
Very
tapped
good.
Tomaz, when I did the 3
Yeah.
taps, it instantly, it's like it activated the area of my heart more too. I instantly felt it
Yes.
more in my heart.
Yes, because we are starting to connect. So we're using a quick way to completely realign our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual body in just one go. So there are 107 Marma points. Of course, when you are certain Marma points, anxiety, depression, indigestion, so all of that. But exactly, Lisa, that's what happens because we just used the 3 main gateways to align the rest of the body. So, there was another point I wanted to mention. The tapping the gentle tapping is like anchoring the energy. So it's like we create a vortex by slowly circulating with our fingertips. We tap into silence, so we transcend an emotion. And then imagine you just put your finger into the silent lake, and that creates a few ripples. And these ripples activate or anchor that movement into the deeper layers of our energetic body. And what that does is it activates the body's self-repair mechanism. Our body knows what to do when we are sick, if we allow it to happen. When we cut our finger, we don't need to think about, oh, the white blood cells need to collect there and I need to put my attention there. And now I need to work on the blood clotting. So it happens automatically. When we fall sick, we have lost that connection with our higher self, with that own self-care mechanism, with the Marma points. And that's only one tool that I have been using. We are actually activating the body's own repair mechanism. So let's just move on to the next point, which is Stapani, which is the crown of our head. And again, just put a drop of the oil in the palm of your hand and then use one of your fingers or 2 fingers, slowly circulate clockwise to activate the oil in your right hand, very gently, very slow. Then at the same time, you just go up into your energy field. And please, there's another point here. I'm just sort of, like I said, do a bit of a crash course. We don't just come in like, boom, here we are, and rub it. No, it's like respecting the energy field. We just tap into our energetic body, into our auric field, slowly. Oops, oh, I can feel it going like shivers, like shower down my spine, slowly coming in, resting our finger, 1 or 2 fingers on the crown of our head, and start slowly moving in a circular direction. For those who need a German approach or a Pitta approach, you can do about 15 circles in a clockwise direction. 15 circles roughly, nice and slow, really slow. And really slowly start breathing. By the way, our out breath is of utmost importance in the context of activating our parasympathetic nervous system. So when we are stressed, naturally our body goes into fight and flight mode. Our breathing becomes heavier and faster. So as we breathe out, very slow, it's like natural physiological change that happens, which gets us into parasympathetic mode. Just slowly come to a still, rest your fingertips gently on the crown of your head, tap gently about 3 times, anchoring that experience in your subconscious. And as I'm doing that now, I can feel a heat, a warmth, a very gentle warmth building up in my body. And then slowly come out of your energy field. And when you're ready, open your eyes. That's a very quick way of aligning yourself. It just takes a couple of seconds. And imagine if we do this, of course, which most of us have done, under the pyramid. And imagine if we do this with frequencies. So this brings me, before we continue to the next aspect, I'm using at the same time, you may see this, a little device, which is a device here, which is a mantra coil. It has got magnets and 7 blue sapphires, and that mantra coil is linked to frequencies. And what I've chosen today is to use the frequency of the light of Christ to play. And what I have found is, in particular, with the pyramid, it's like another amplifier. It's like really amplifying the frequencies that go through the space and travel through the space. And what I often do is I place the mantra coil in the pyramid, and then I have people sitting on the chair, and the mantra coil is under the pyramid, and then do some shamanic healing work with them, teach them meditation. And if I do it remotely, or like we had to reinvent ourselves in 2020, I do remote work as well. I have got the images and some genetic material, like a hair sample, and the image that I place on the mantra coil. And then by me sitting under the pyramid, I tune into the energy and the frequency of the people that I work with. So that just to throw in, because I believe Charles is gonna talk about this possibly at the end of the session briefly, the importance of frequencies and that aspect of it. Right. Oh my God, I just realized time is flying. It's already 5:45. Okay. Just take a few deep breaths. So what we have done now is we are slowly building, raising our energy, raising our body. And by clearing our energy body, we naturally tap into our higher self, our higher being. I believe, or my philosophy is very much that it's not so much focusing about healing. It's no longer actually focusing about healing. By focusing on expansion, healing is a natural byproduct. So we can easily get lost. Oh, I need to lose weight. I need to do this. I need to cleanse my liver. I need to do that. I need to sort out my thyroid. I'm not saying that is not necessary. It is necessary. But as part of any healing journey, I believe the most important part is to raise our frequency, to focus on expansion, because then whatever we do on a physical body, being a detox, being it intermittent fasting or anything, taking herbs and remedies, they are actually able to understand the language of our body, because our density is very low. If our frequency is very low, the energy and frequency of any pills and potions that we take cannot be read properly. It's like there is a difference between the hardware and the software component. And this is why raising our vibration, raising our frequency is so important. This is where the healing energy of the pyramid really comes in, and anything that you do. And here we have just tapped into the vast realm of understanding or getting a glimpse of the power of Marma points. So the next component that I want to introduce briefly is the component of what I like to call the quantum breath. And why do I call it quantum breath? Last year, well, I should say as part of my own process, because I believe as practitioner, we have responsibility to our patients, to our clients, to constantly aim to improve our own well-being, to work with our shadows, to dive into our own traumas and anything that gets into the way of us living our fullest truth. And as part of my journey, I do regular fast every Monday, for example, intermittent fasting for about 36 hours. Sometimes Monday becomes Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, and sometimes there is no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because I'm so engrossed in my work, and that's okay too. So it's not about the black and white approach of health. So what shall I do? What shall I don't do? It's all about trying to understand what does your body require at this particular moment in time. So last year, I did a blackout retreat in my little flat in central London. Basically, I went through the trouble of getting myself theater curtains, black theater curtains, and I've got massive big windows in a old building in big windows. So I have 4 to 5 days, and I went on a dieta or a diet with some herb that I actually used a decoction and concoction of white rose at one point, but also used oak. So in my meditation, I was guided to work with the energy of oak at that time, because I believe what works for me is the true way of understanding and reading how herbs work is by actually really fasting with those herbs. What that means is you prepare the herbs in a particular way, and then I'm on a very minimalistic diet. It's basically juice for about 4 to 5 days. And I drink the liquid of the herb. In that particular case, it was oak, and the oak material, which was a bark and root, had traveled from Hungary from my friend. And I prepared it for about 7 days. I placed it under the pyramid. This is very important. And by placing it under the pyramid on the frequency unit, it again almost doubled the energy frequency of the medicine. I can't quite remember what it was. I wrote it down somewhere in my book, but it doubled it by actually leaving it for about 24 hours under the pyramid, and then I take the liquid in increasing dosage over a period of time. So during that 4.5 days of blackout retreat, and imagine I didn't use any artificial light source. Being German, and although I'm also British, I got a British passport, I did it what I would call properly. Some would call it fanatically, I would call it properly. I even blacked out the fridge. I even blacked out my hot water kettle because it had some light on it. So, and I did very, very deep meditations. And in that meditations, I was guided and I had my pyramid, lucky. And in the dark, I navigated myself through the flat. It was quite incredible, quite scary at the same time, because you really delve into the shadow aspects, the fears that really came up. It was a very challenging process, especially coming out of the 5 days was really quite something. So during that time, I was given by my higher self, I believe, the so-called quantum breath, what I call as a quantum breath. And this is where your crystal comes in. So if you have got a piece of crystal, just pick it up. I will use my piece of shungite that I have here. So place that into your left hand again. I work very much with the left hand when it comes to healing, because the left hand is basically linked to the feminine. Whenever we talk about healing energy, it's the left hand. So it is, I'm just going to break it down into 2 steps. Basically what we do is we do the infinity sign movement with our left hand. So imagine the figure 8. Imagine creating a vortex through utilizing the energy with the crystal in your hand. So it's like a figure 8. And what you do is, at the same time, you bring the energy into your heart. You can't see it properly because I'm sitting front on. Let's see if I can just turn sideways a little bit. It's all a bit cramped under my pyramid. Maybe I need a bigger one with all my crystals. So basically, I draw the energy in and into my heart. So it's almost like you breathe through the heart. You draw the energy in through the heart and do this nice and slow. Does everybody get an idea what I'm talking about? I will guide us through it. It sounds more complicated than it actually is. So it's really easy. And because we have worked on the heart energy with the Marma points, it's naturally much more open and it flows. So I like us to close our eyes and just imagine you bring the energy into your heart as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, you just pull it away. So basically you bring the good life force, the pranic energy in, and depending on the crystal you use, of course, Lisa will know, will probably be able to explore much more with it because she is the expert with our capstones, and she will know everything about the crystals. Depending on which crystal you use, you can clear certain energies. So I'm using shungite, which we know really helps clearing the electromagnetic field. And amongst many other benefits of shungite, I'm using shungite. So I bring the energy in. As I bring in, I poke my chest out. Basically, I open up my heart. As I release, I breathe the wasted energy out. So keep going, breathe in. Keep your eyes closed. And if you're good visually, just imagine a breath of fresh air coming into the center of your heart. And as you breathe out, release any stagnant energy. And again, why the infinity sign? I believe because it gets us into the connection to our quantum field, into the energy of the infinite energy and intelligence of the unified field of nature, of the quantum field. So we really open our heart area up to receiving that energy. And it is even more powerful if you have two people actually sitting opposite each other and working together. Okay, just take a couple of seconds, breathe comfortably, come back to normal breath, and check in again. Do you feel any sensations anywhere? Is there anything that may have come up? Maybe some images, maybe some feelings, emotions, other sensations. Just to check in and let it be. And when you're ready, open your eyes. How was that? Yes? Good. Good. It's beautiful. Feel the quiet and feel the calm that really comes in, especially when we do it very slow and conscious. As we breathe in and out, our energy body becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, expands and expands and expands. And especially when we work under the pyramid. Charles, is there anything that you want to say?
Well, I mean, two things. I was feeling a tremendous amount of energy flowing into my body in that last exercise. But a question I had, was I supposed to be using my right or left hand, or did it matter to hold the crystal?
That's what maybe I didn't make that clear. Hold the crystal in your left hand.
That's what I did. Okay. Okay.
The
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
hand, the
Yeah.
feminine, really the healing energy, the energy of the Mother Divine. Just bring it into your heart. As you breathe in, you poke out your chest. This is just now exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a smooth dance that you do. And of course, depending on the crystals that you use, for example, I've got a beautiful citrine here.
Wow. Yeah.
If I need power, I will increase the speed and really, whoops, that's too much. Work with the energy of the citrine, for example. So you can actually create nuances. If you need calm and quiet, this is a piece of amethyst.
Mm-hmm.
So again, depending on what you need, you can alter the outcome with that. Okay.
I guess just as a follow-up, the reason I wanted to get clarity, is it always the left hand, or if you're left-handed, would you use your right hand?
Good question. I'm left-handed myself. I just go back to the basic understanding that the left side is very much linked into the feminine intuitive nature. So I would recommend to use the left side, in particular when we work with Marma points as well, because we can easily get sidetracked, especially as a practitioner. Oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that. The patient this is wrong with the patient. So by working with the right hand, we activate the logical brain. Whereas when we work with the left hand, we got more into our intuitive state, into our intuitive, tap into our intuitive energy.
Okay.
Right?
Perfect.
So what I would like us to do now is, because I'm aware that it's already 6 o'clock here now. So we probably have about 15, 20 minutes. Is that okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I would like us to do now is, I would like you to go into quiet space through using a different breath. I'm going to talk you through it, but we work at the same time with a mudra. Again, I said before, mudras are certain finger positions that have a very specific purpose. There are elemental mudras, but here I want us to use the mudra that links the divine masculine. Bring the index and thumb of your right hand together, the divine masculine, interlink it with the divine feminine, so create a kind of lock, and then place your middle, your ring, and your pinky together, which is the inner child. So this mudra in particular aligns the masculine, the feminine, and the inner child of our being. So right interlock with the left, and then bring the other 3 fingers together and simply place it comfortably in your lap. Okay? Really place it in your lap, close your eyes, and I'm going to take us through a brief drumming journey. And for those who might not be familiar with, there might come some very strange and weird sounds as I do the drumming. So try to feel into the vibration of the sound. And if your logical brain starts to kick in, just come back to your breath. And the simple breath that I'm asking you to do is to get into a more relaxed space, is breathe in for 4 counts, hold your breath briefly for 2, and breathe out for 6. So you might find as you go through the journey, you lose the count. That's perfectly fine. But for those pitta brains, for those who need to have some figures and numbers, breathe in for 4, hold for 2, breathe out for 6. By breathing out for 6, anatomically, physically, not anatomically, physically what's happening is our brain naturally switches from fight and flight to rest and digest. So just close your eyes.
Can we do a quick sound check? Because when you sing the drum very loud, then it might distort the sound. So I'm just going to adjust it.
Okay.
And then can you ask them if they can still hear it?
Yeah. So then just my technical angel has just advised me that when I go into the drumming, it might be a little bit loud. So we're just adjusting the sound. So can you still hear me at this point? Okay.
Yes,
Or is the microphone too quiet?
it's good.
You hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. So just close your eyes, get into the mudra, divine masculine, aligning with the divine feminine and our inner child. Really focus on your breath and maybe pay attention to the sense of smell. If you have used frankincense or lavender, use any of the senses to really get us or get you into relaxed and quiet mode. Whenever you're ready, just slowly come back. Maybe wiggle your hands and fingers so let go of the mudra. Maybe wiggle your toes. And whenever you're ready, just slowly open your eyes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I guess the idea is that we allow a little bit of time for questions and answers or any other comments that anybody would like to make.
I'm just without words. I'm speechless in regards to the stillness that I have achieved. I was in a chaotic state this morning, and I have just entered into such a place of stillness and acceptance, and that was just incredibly healing. Thank you, Tomaz.
Yeah, that was incredible session. I totally agree. And as for the shamanic part, that was also extremely interesting. First, I was trying to synchronize my breathing with your chant, which didn't work very well. And I was wanting all the time to move, to the beat. But after all, I'm still hot. I'm still sweating. I don't know. There's so much energy rising. I don't know what you did, but it's extremely powerful. Thank you so much. It's amazing.
I must admit, I've also worked with the fire dragon, with the energy of the fire. So just to help us clear any of the emotional baggage or anything that we carry that might obstruct us in our personal growth and our own personal journey. So you picked it up correctly. Yes.
Excellent. That's what we need, huh? Purify our being totally. So this is your method of working on a regular basis with your clients, like to use everything that, combinations of techniques that you introduced us today so graciously.
Yes and no. There are a few other bits and pieces that I incorporate depending on what actually is required. Like I said, when I work with patients, is mainly understanding of where do we need to tap into? Do we need to work on the spiritual body, on the physical body? So if it is the physical body, we may focus on a detox program first, or we may go straight into meditation, breath work, or frequency medicine. So it really depends on what it is. And also I work with a shamanic practice utilizing tobacco, and tobacco in its purest form, not the tobacco that we actually get. It's not by smoking it, by using it as a medicine, is basically inhaling it, or depending on when I do a cleansing myself, which is extremely intense, by actually drinking the tobacco as a medicine in micro dosages. But what I found is that tobacco is extremely helpful in grounding, but it also really clears any emotional trauma and any baggage that we carry. And I would like to share a brief story with you. In January, well, every year for many, many years, I have been working with, how shall I put it? Some members of the British royalty, and in January last year or this year, I sort of was very bold in making a particular comment, which I probably shouldn't have done. And I felt I had some psychic attacks that happened in 3 consecutive nights. It was really, really bad. So ending up that basically my entire right side, I couldn't move my shoulder. I had such backache from one second to the other. And it was only through the tobacco, through the breath work, by sitting under the pyramid, working through it, that I was able to lift the energy. And for those of you remember JC has been on the channel as well. So she has really been very helpful in the sense of guiding me through that process. So depending on what is actually presenting itself, sometimes I pick up some traumatic things through visuals that I get when I work with patients, even over Zoom or remotely, and then I use various techniques. So, but definitely these are some of the components that will be included in any healing journey that I work with patients.
What is your opinion of cannabis use as a healing modality? Do you think it has any value, or is too much of the manipulation happen to this plant that it's not as a high vibration
if
anymore?
you take, I truly believe if it is taken and prepared in a sacred manner in its traditional form, like with anything, the medicines that nature gives us always has a value. And it depends on I truly believe it depends on the manufacturer. It depends on the intention of the manufacturer, because whatever consciousness we put in, especially when we work with quantum energy, it is like a device, let's say, or a construction or a crutch. In principle, the pyramid is a crutch, right? It's a crutch to help us keep our frequencies high. So there's an interaction with the pyramid, or in my case as well, with the mantra call and the frequency. And then there is my consciousness, and there is the consciousness of the person that I work with. So similar with any plant that we use, it is about the intention with which we use it, the sacredness with which we use it. And I truly believe we move away from pills and tablets and capsules into frequency medicine. And this is the medicine of the future. So, and liquids carry the energy much better. They keep and hold the frequency much better. I also work with alchemical gold formulations to really clear some emotional blocks and help people on their spiritual path to clear physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic level, or maybe help people to focus on certain goals in their life. But again, to answer your question is, I truly believe, yes, but again, it's about doing the research. What is your intention with the medicine? If you have a pure medicine, place it under the pyramid, place it on the shungite plate. If you have the shungite plate, work with the capstone and really energize it and really create a relationship with the medicine. It's not just a pot of pills that sit on your desk in the morning or in your kitchen bench. Oh yeah, okay, boop, I swallow some pills. I believe a lot of, actually, the only thing what we do there is we just create expensive urine and we just flush it down the toilet. Sorry to say that, because if our body is not capable of absorbing the energy, absorbing the frequency, reading the intelligence contained in the medicine, which means we need to be prepared. We need to open ourselves up. And it's not about the pills doing the job. It's not about the plant medicine doing a job. It's about us interacting, communicating, allowing that energy, allowing that frequency to come in. And then the body knows what to do. We are just surrendering. But our brain is naturally geared to interfering. Oh, I need to take 3 pills of that, and this is what's happening. Again, I'm not opposing Western medicine, allopathic medicine. I'm trained in anatomy, pathology, diagnosis. I've got a strong background in medical. During my training as an Ayurvedic practitioner, in those areas, however, we are moving towards frequency medicine. And this is my preferred way of working. And I can see that the clientele that has come to me 10 years ago is no longer the same that has come to me today, because I have changed. I've changed my approach. Changed my approach, not in the sense of doing other things, but utilizing what I have in a different way. And because I have taken responsibility myself, and trust me, it has not been an easy journey. Dealing with the shadow aspects of our being and dealing with the trauma that we face or have been facing can be quite scary. So, but I believe it's about reading it, breathing through it, and any crutch can help. A crystal, a mantra coil, a pyramid, anything can help, but we shouldn't rely on it. But it's stupid not to use it because it accelerates the process. So what might take, let's say, a couple of months, it can just happen in a couple of days. So my shamanic teacher always says 1 trip to the jungle for about 4 or 5 days is replacing about 1.5 years of psychotherapy for those who have any traumatic events and experiences. And sadly, there is a lot of boo-boo still around plant medicine, especially something like cannabis, something like some of the hallucinogenic plants in the jungle. But the jungle has got such a vast variety of plants. It's not just about hallucinogenics, like basically getting all the visions. Yes, that's all fantastic. But I have worked with roots and barks of trees, and I can feel that that has helped me immensely in staying grounded in the midst of all the chaos that's going on around us. I'm not saying I haven't figured it all out. By far, I haven't. But at least I know what to do, where to go, what to use at what particular moment in time. And that's all what we can do, support each other. And rather than judging, we should be doing this. Oh my God, you're still doing that. Oh, you shouldn't eat meat. Oh dear, you are not a vegan. I just truly, I start burping when I get into, when I get the sense of dogmatic ways of being. No, it's not about a dogma. It's not about what we should and shouldn't do. What might be right for you might be wrong for me. And allowing us also to change. My way has completely changed. I was vegetarian for over 18 years. I developed such severe physical symptoms. It's my choice at this point in time to occasionally have some fish and chicken. That works for me. Some people might be vegan, some people might be carnivores, whatever. It's not about judgment. It's about connecting with your body, working with your body. When I say body, not just your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and energetic body. And being open to expansion. And the beauty is in the journey of expansion, this is where miracles happen. If we let go, if we surrender to the process.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, that's wonderful, Tomaz. Thank you so much. That was really powerful. It was funny because right before you started the drumming, the energies around me called in a dragonfly. And so I was all excited to see the dragonfly. Then my cat caught the dragonfly with their mouth. And that's why I jumped up, because I was like, oh no, but the dragonfly symbolizes transformation. Yes. And the cat let it go, it didn't hurt him. But as we were doing the drumming, transformation can be somewhat scary, and then I felt I was surrounded by the energy of the bear, like several bears I could just see in my mind come in. And that's about courage to evolve in your life, And
strength and power.
Yes, so that was pretty cool, the messages that you get while you're meditating and, just connecting everything and being in tune with your body. It really made me feel centered and connected to everything around me. So that was very powerful. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for sharing.
Does anyone else have any questions for Tomaz or any comments?
I saw Dina's hand, but I don't see her on. She must have had to jump off.
I think she jumped off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we use any oil?
Of course, it's good to use the oil with the intention again. So if you are looking to calm down your nervous system, then use oils that are more calming-native. If you want to get in touch with the spiritual body, you are basically using frankincense as one of the quickest way of doing that. Or if you want to use any oils that are more detoxifying, you may use something like ginger. But remember, do not apply ginger neat. You always use a carrier oil because it's very heating, very detoxifying. So it's about bringing in the understanding of aromatherapy and the understanding of the purpose. What do you want to achieve? So the purpose for us was to get into parasympathetic mode, to actually relax and to raise our consciousness, to connect with our consciousness body or awareness body.
And would be pine needle oil good?
Pine needle oil is very good. As we know, it helps in strengthening the immune system, and also it helps in cleansing and detoxification.
Mhm.
It's also good for the liver. For example, it might be too heating for some. So I'm
Yeah.
Pitta, and sometimes I can use it and sometimes I can't. I can't in
Okay.
the sense it makes me just too hot.
Yeah.
So that's something that one needs to basically consider and keep in mind.
Okay, thank you. That was really great and wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brigitte.
Well, one thing I guess I'd like to say, we didn't have time to really get into this today, and it all worked out in perfect order. But there was a gentleman I was hoping was going to be on today who makes the mantra coils that Tomaz showed us earlier today. So I'm hoping, Tomaz, you can come back at some point when I can get the two of you connected. I think that people will be interested in perhaps seeing the powerful nature of those coils. And of course, you had it going today, and I think that helped to power the experience for everyone. So, we'll try to set that up, if that's okay, sometime in the future.
Sure, sure. Maybe just before we go, if you have had an fairly objective way of measuring, maybe just check your energy levels, your frequency levels at this point in time compared to the beginning. I've just done mine. So basically, I've gone from the spiritual realm into the cosmic realm from 1 million units on the Bovie scale to 100 billion. So basically, there's no space anymore. I've gone off the chart in terms of my energy at this point in time. And I feel quite calm, quite centered, and I feel very connected. And I'm deeply grateful for giving me the opportunity to be here with you all this afternoon.
Thank you, Tomaz.
Yeah, thank you, Tomaz. That exactly happened to me as well. I was actually in the positive realm, but on lower end of it. And then I kept dousing my energy level throughout every technique that you utilize. And I ended up going to, 32,000. And then I jumped over to 5 million, and now it's off the charts. It's way past 100 billion. So
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
same
awesome.
here. From 50,000 at the beginning to, well, as you said, beyond the chart, 100 billion, that's what it says, but who knows, maybe it's more than that.
Yes, yes.
You know what I've noticed? When I'm dowsing in the pyramid, it's always off the chart. When I douse myself out of pyramid, but on my bed, it's like significantly higher. So I ended up using dowsing off my bed, which I think more realistic. It's like 28 to 35, depends on how my day goes, how am I feeling. So dowsing in the pyramid in my hands is not accurate, let's say. I mean, it's always off the chart.
Well, just keep this in mind. The way I see it is, when you're sitting under the pyramid, naturally you are aligning to a higher frequency. So it's about which level of your higher self are you connecting to? And it's not just your higher self. There are various layers that are linked to our higher self. And the more we are linking to our highest level of our highest self, the more accurate the reading is. And the best way to do is, before you get into dowsing mode, I have got everything here that I need. I've got sage. So I work very much with sage. I've got my essential oils. I'm surrounded by crystal. I've got the frequencies on. And if I try to rush, or I'm not patient enough, I just want to figure something out, of course I get a reading that is very wishy-washy, as we would say in Germany. So it's about centering yourself, sitting with intention, clearing your mind, emptying your mind, and allow the information to come to you. Dowsing is not a crutch, because in essence, in the Vedic terms, we say knowledge is structured in consciousness, and knowledge is different in different states of consciousness. So basically, if you link to higher consciousness, everything will be revealed to us. This is where our inner knowing comes in. And interestingly, I've observed myself in the last years, I stopped reading books. I used to be such a book bookworm. But it's about, first of all, can you trust the source? That's the big question. But it's about trying to explore the knowledge within myself. And that again links in to the accuracy of the dowsing. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you get into dowsing mode, really get into dowsing mode. Don't try to rush the process. Does that make sense?
Just give me a moment to come.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
Tomaz, I have a question. The drumming session that you did, are there any recordings that you might recommend that we could use for that? That was really powerful for me.
I'm very excited to share with you that I'm working on an app, and the app will be launched hopefully in about 4 to 6 weeks, and there
Oh,
will be
wow.
some recorded sessions will be in there. So, and again, I make it really a point of the quality. So I'm really ensuring that the quality is all right, and it has taken ages to get, like you had to reinvent yourself doing the website new. You know how it takes time. But I would really invite everybody to maybe stay in touch with me if you choose to. I hope you don't mind me saying that. Maybe check out my Instagram account. There are a lot of good Ayurvedic tips and practices on the Instagram account, and that will maybe keep you posted, or have a look at the website. I've also published a book which is at the moment available as a Kindle version on Amazon. The hardcover version, 2nd edition, is on its way. So yeah, and if you have any questions that may pop to your mind, just feel free to send me an email or send me a message.
And why don't you give that to the group, and I'll make sure to post it on the screen when I redo this.
I think,
Okay.
on Instagram, you are at Tomaz _Mueller.
It's the other way around. On Instagram, I'm at Mueller Tomaz. So MUELLER TOMAZ.
Okay, there we go.
That's my Instagram account. And then my website, you've got my website, www.thomasmueller.com.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Okay. Are there any other questions for Tomaz, or any parting comments, Tomaz, from you?
No, again, deepest gratitude and thank you so much. It was really lovely to be with you bunch of people, and I hope we will be connecting soon. And remember, it's not about health, it's about expansion, because by expanding, health is a natural byproduct.
Mm.
Oh, I love
Big
that.
hugs. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming again. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.